Bodhisattvas will use all the tools of the world. Don't sit there snotty nose looking at these funny tools. They use them. Do you understand? Don't be scared, people. Be like the fundamentalists who burn books. When they started inventing books, they thought it was a devil. A book, you know. You understand? Now we think AI is the devil. Don't be scared of it. People, come on. Please stop it. Get ahead. Use it. Turn it around and use it for good. That's the... Okay, good. Bye, everybody. I'm here. Okay, turn this off. Okay. Okay, so listen. Okay, listen. I better get comfortable, I suppose. Okay. So we're going to be here for an hour, maybe a bit longer, and we're going to listen, think about, analyze, contemplate, use critical thinking. It's all right. Use critical thinking. We're going to use some logic now to try to understand how we can get compassion logically. We're so sentimental and wishy-washy and body feeling in our culture. We're pathetic, you know. Okay? No one know about your body feelings anymore. I'm joking, but there's different methods, okay? I've never known what my body felt ever. I haven't got a clue what my body feels, only when it hurts. And I'm not interested. I am not interested. I want to know about my mind, my thoughts. Do you understand? Okay. So anyway, we're going to look at how to logically understand, to understand logically. What compassion is and how to get it, you know, roughly, or how to grow it. It's already there, how to grow it. So this is where, the two wings of the bird. I love this model. I love this kind of analogy, this two wings of the bird. The wisdom wing, which all we've been talking about really, is the work to do here. And you are the beneficiary of that. We are the beneficiary of that. You control your body, you control your speech, you control your mind. You harness the energy. So, of course, we get very upset when we hear that because it sounds like you're suffocating. And then all this kind of the words you're using, like bypass, all this business happens, you know. But it's like, to learn anything. I remember this, think about this, remember this, think about this. When we learn to be a cook, when we learn to be a musician, when we learn to be a carpenter, we delight in the discipline. We delight in the clarity. We know we have to know that 1 inch is 1 inch. If you think 1 inch is really 3 inches, you will not get a building. You will not get a chair. So we are happy for clarity. We are happy for precision. And we can do it. But as soon as it comes to our emotional stuff, we lose the plot, you know. So in the same way that we know we produce the carpenter, we produce the musician, we produce the cook by training our thoughts, which then turn into experience. We get that. We are brilliant at that. And all Buddha is saying is we can do that when it comes to being a happy person or a suffering person, that we are the person who creates it. So we have to have this kind of clarity and precision. It's not some wishy-washy thing. And everybody can do it. I remember one time at Copan, one person said, oh, this sounds all very intellectual. I'm a creative person. I don't think that way. I said, really? I said, what kind of creative person are you? She said, she's a graphic designer. So I said, well, then you must know about inches and millimeters and shape and structure. Well, that's, so don't be nonsense thinking creativity is blah-de-blah, you know? It's not. Clarity is always there. It has to be there. The best musician, Bach, the most moving music is based on incredible sophisticated theory. The person had to squeeze their brain with that clarity of theory to get to that music. Think that way, then there's no contradiction, you know. So the same with discovering our mind and recognizing delusions and distinguishing from virtues. You can all do it. So the wisdom wing is the nuts and bolts of Buddha's views about karma, which you didn't even talk about, you know, but basically, as Geshe Sopa said, it's just another way of talking about the mind. Your mind programs, as I said, program, I love that word. Buddha would have loved that concept. Cause and effect, seeds and fruits is just programming. So when you become a musician, you program your mind with musical thoughts until you become a musician. Here we're programming our mind with virtuous thoughts and deprogramming from the negative. That's it. It's not complicated. But you have to see it, recognize it. So then the wisdom wing, once you've got the nuts and bolts of that down, body, speech, mind, you're really becoming a more subdued person, disciplined person, and a more content, fulfilled person, more self-confidence. Now you can open your eyes and go, oh my God, we're all in the same boat, you know. And now you're qualified to help others because we're all cut from the same cloth. This is why the marvelous technique that's the starting point for all the little techniques that culminate in bodhicitta, this really detailed, if you've learned about the 6 points, cause and effect, blah, blah, all this business. There's a series of thinkings that lead to culminate in this paradigm shift in the mind that they refer to in Sanskrit as bodhicitta, this outrageous paradigm shift that seems like mental illness in our culture, such that you now only others prevail in your mind. And that's a pretty advanced state. You've done all the wisdom wing. You put yourself together. You've become this marvelous person. Now you can afford to only think of others because you've done the job. You're done. You're cooked, So there's a series of techniques that culminate in that. So in other words, it's the compassion wing is the essence of the practicing The first level is controlling the body and speech, the servants of the delusions, then beginning to harness the delusions. Just like when you play piano, you've got to harness your energy. You've got to really train. Everything demands that. So don't feel suffocated by it. And then you've harnessed the negative ones. You're sort of like, you're subduing the weeds. You're pulling out the weeds and getting the garden all ready. Now you can start growing the flowers. And that's proactively benefiting others, So the very first practice, the foundation, the ground, when we can understand this one, we can then start to grow. Compassion, love, great compassion, and then bodhicitta. And that's called equanimity. And don't misunderstand it. It sounds all very wishy-washy. It's very specific. It's very specific. Like all these terms are very specific. 1 + 1 is 2 is very specific. Well, love, compassion, equanimity, they're very specific. Okay, people have got in their systems, they've got their own definitions. Like Lama Ursula yesterday talked about perception and what do you say, perspective. That's his trip, That's his thing. Wherever he got it from, there's many packages, there's many approaches. So whichever one we're using, we've got to be clear which one it is. Well, I'm using the Buddhist one. Although I sound like a regular, hippie trippy talking, I'm only talking Buddhist psychology. I never talk anything else. And the definitions that I'm learning from those, So equanimity here. There's different kinds of equanimity. In the wisdom wing, there's the equanimity that you cultivate within yourself, having subdued yourself to some degree. Instead of being bipolar like a maniac, manic depression, up and down like a yo-yo berserk, which is how we are from pillar to post, up and down, and attachment, aversion, crazy dramas. You've got a bit of equanimity within yourself now, having subdued your body, speech, and mind, having learned to know yourself, harnessed your energy. You become this fulfilled, content, stable person. That equanimity there. This one's different. This is equanimity in relation to beings. And what equanimity is, specifically, this is my way of putting it, my definition, but it's taken from the teachings. It's once you've got it, what it is this heartfelt recognition, when you've got it, a heartfelt recognition that the person called friend, who by definition is the object of my attachment, which means, that they look delicious and that they fulfill my needs. So that then on the basis of this, I love them. I have some love and compassion for them. But their friend, by definition, is a person who does what my attachment wants, who fulfills my needs. And it sounds brutal, but if we analyze it, we'll understand. The same with rats and dogs and mice, they're all the same. By definition, friend in this context is a person who's the object of my attachment, who looks adorable to me, but who fulfills my needs, basically. So therefore, I'm prepared to love them and have compassion for them. The enemy, we don't use that word, but use it, is the object of my aversion. And who is that? By definition, a person who's proactively doesn't do what my attachment wants or does what my attachment doesn't want. So for whom I have aversion and whom I do not wish to be happy. We know this. The third lot, 99.99% of the universe, are called strangers. And who are they? By definition, those who've neither helped nor harmed. And how do we feel about them? They could all drop dead. I'm not being silly, but you hear my point. We do not care. They do not fill our mind. Our mind is preoccupied with the objects of attachment and aversion. The universe is like this. So let's just use some logic. You see, why logic? When I first started studying the philosophical teachings, when I first became a nun, and I was in England, and Lama Yeshe started what he called it the Geshe program at Manjushri Institute in the north of England. And I went there. I met the lamas in Australia. Then I went to Copan, became a nun, and then what happened? Then I went to sorry, that's right, Wisdom Publications. Lama moved it there, and that was my job at the time. I thought my job was to run Wisdom, but I got a big shock. Lama said Robina can be the secretary. Got a big shock, you know. That's another whole discussion. I got the shock of my life, the biggest shock of my life. I said to myself, poor Lama, he doesn't understand. That's another whole discussion. Okay, so anyway, it happened to be he sent Geshe Tekchok there. He's a wonderful colleague from Sarah J. This is about 1978. And then Lama started what he called the Geshe program. And I did 2 years of it. And I just want to say this. When I met the lamas in Australia 18 months before that, 2 years before that, I knew it was my path. I didn't know what Lama Zopa was telling, like I said, but I knew it was my path. I knew I'd be a nun. By that point, I'd given up drugs, boys, girls, cigarettes, alcohol. There's nothing left. I thought, oh, there's what I want to be, a nun. It was clear, So I became a nun. And then I remember I didn't have any interest in studying I thought Lamrim was boring. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know when they said studying the Dharma. I thought, what are they talking about? Study. I couldn't care less. I had no idea what it meant. I just wanted to do things. I like doing things, So the publishing was my thing. All my life I've been on the propaganda side of things. So it just seemed logical. I fell into that, it's true. Honestly, it was true. I fell into that job. It was like I was in heaven, And then at the center, I never forget this. I was there in the first year, and Lama sent Geshe Tekchok, and I saw all these serious people like Chuck and all the people who are here. A bunch of the people I studied with there are here now. John Landau, Truce, Breeze, Chuck, Sharon Gross. You know these people, you know them? We all studied together with Geshe Tekchok in the 1970s in England, in Manjushri Institute at the Geshe program. Well, I saw these people, they did the first year, and I'd look at them all. I'd come from, it was a big community, 80 people, and I'd come from my office, Wisdom Publication, where I worked day and night, happily, even though I was a secretary. The poor guy who was appointed director, he couldn't get his leg in. I was such a bossy girl. Can you imagine being my boss? Anyway, never mind. That's another whole discussion. So anyway, the point is, I'd go to lunch, and I'd see all these people going blah, blah, blah. I think, what are they talking about? These arrogant people rabbiting on blah, blah, these words, blah, blah. I had no idea what they were talking about. And then the next year, I heard that one of the texts they studied is called Dura in Tibetan. And something triggered. It means collected topics. It's the first text they study in the monasteries, And I don't know why, but the penny dropped. And I thought, oh, I want to study that. I never thought in my life to study anything. I never studied anything at school. I never passed a single exam except for 1 year when I was so naughty, my mother sent me to boarding school because I was walking up and down Murrumbina Road at the age of 13 with high heels on trying to seduce the greengrocer's son. She got so shocked, she sent me to boarding school. And that's when I began to study my last year at school. But I left when I was 15 or something. I never studied anything. Never got any degrees. Never went to university. I thought how boring university is. Nothing that I want to learn. Anyway, the first time I wanted to study something, I didn't know what it was. I went to Geshe Tekchok, and they were studying 5 days a week, really intensive, 2 hours a day, debates, really intense, full on exams, the whole works. And I said, I can't come all the time, Geshe. I'm busy, but can I come sometimes? He said, yeah. All I know is when I sat down, I got a notebook. He said, you're supposed to take notes. I bought a notebook and a pencil. I didn't like pens. I had a notebook. And I was at the first class. I sat down and I was in bliss. For 2 years, I was in bliss. I studied 4 texts, Dura, Drupta, Torig, Lorig, and Tarig. They're such simple, lovely words, aren't they? Dura is collected topics, the very first one, the nuts and bolts of cause, effect, the 8 this and 9 this, the mind, the 7 this, the impermanent that, all the nuts and bolts of the language, the structure. Then I studied Drupta, which is the tenets, Buddhist tenets, all the complicated views in all different schools of thought in relation to emptiness mostly and other things. Then I studied the mind, Lorig, and then I studied this 4th one, logic, Tarig. All I know is those 2 years, I could not say a single word I say in this room today without that. Not possible. Not possible. Not possible. That 2 years for me, the greatest regret I've got is I didn't do more, My friend Sangicardo, she was studying there too. And then she went along in Italy 20 years later and did the master's program, the 7-year program. And I got so jealous. I thought, maybe I'll do the master's program. And then I thought, well, I thought of it a couple of years ago. I thought, well, I'll graduate. I'm 80 this year, see. So I thought I'll graduate when I'm 87, 88. Then I've got to do a year's retreat. I'll be 90 before I can start. I thought, no, next life. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll put up with what I've got now, right? So all I know is that 2 years, it somehow gave me the absolute basis, the words, the structure, the clarity, the infrastructure, the words, the shape, the skeleton, whatever you want to say, of what I talk about now. That's all I want to say. I was so happy doing that. It was like, that's finally, I was 36 by that point. That's when I found what I wanted to learn in my life. That's when everything began to make clarity. That's when the Lamrim made sense. Everything made sense, studying that. I was in heaven. And what I'm getting at is the logic text. Whenever you think of spiritual, we don't ever think of logic. It's the opposite, isn't it? We think it's hippie, trippy, mystical, wow, far out in the sky. Nonsense. There's not a single thing in the entire Buddhist worldview, the Buddhist view would be this, that can't be proved with words. And you think of this. This is not weird. Any body of knowledge, and I mean a body of knowledge, not some kind. We think of spiritual as hippy, trippy, random moments of something. We don't think of it as a coherent body of knowledge. Acupuncture is a coherent body of knowledge. Anything is a coherent body of knowledge. Music, carpentry, Buddhism. If it is a body of knowledge, if it's valid. Please hear this. If it is valid, it has to be first coherent theoretically. You could pass an exam in acupuncture without putting a single needle in a single person because you've got the theories and there's not a contradiction. Don't pretend you're an acupuncturist. As Lama Zopa says, Lama Yeshe says, that's like thinking a pizza is the packet or the recipe is the pizza. You'll be in trouble eating a recipe. But don't contradict the recipe. The recipe leads you to the taste. We confuse the recipe with the taste, We try to get the taste, but you can't get the taste if you haven't got the recipe. This for me is so comforting, So when you know that, you bring your mind down to earth, on the ground. So that's what I learned from logic. And the point is this. The Buddha's view about the mind, which you learn in Lorig, is, as we've been talking, these neuroses, these delusions, these misconceptions, these afflictions, these emotional suffering, which are not at the core of our being, because they're misconceptions and therefore can be unpacked and unraveled and disappear like the puff of smoke. They are rooted in being lies. They're misconceptions. So you have to use, and ego is frantic. The energy of ego grasping, which is in the nature of fear, and the energy of attachment, the main voice of ego grasping, and the energy of anger, which is the main voice when attachment doesn't get what it wants, and the energy of all the other 83,997 ridiculous neuroses are rooted in fear. They are rooted in panic attack. They're rooted in drama. They're drama queens that have no basis in reality. And they're the source of our pain. And they're rooted in nonsense because they're lies, they're misconceptions. So you have to use clarity and wisdom to argue with them. Like you do, when a poor person's having a mental breakdown, you try to calm them with clarity, to see reality. And that's the job of being your own therapist. And you have to, and that's what I learned. Logic was so powerful. To argue with these panic-stricken, poor, suffering, and have compassion for ourselves, not guilt. Don't run around looking like a holy saint, Look at you and own the rubbish. Anyway, that's the power of logic. So let's look at some logic of what compassion, equanimity. So equanimity, let me finish. Equanimity is this heartfelt recognition, which is the first part of the sentence. Now I'll complete it. Such that the friend, the enemy, and the stranger, for the moment, from our perspective, 3 totally different people. But in reality, you get yourself out of it. You step back, and you look at them. And now we see them, and we have to learn to prove logically how they're equal to each other from one point of view. That each of them only wants to be happy, and each of them only wants not to suffer. Now, those words are simple, but to even get to that recognition, we've got to peel away a lot of layers, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of assumptions, a lot of panic and fear. So, for example, that boyfriend just really has hurt you. Let's say that boyfriend really did cheat on you. It's a fact. Okay, there's reasons why, karma, so on. Never mind that. It's a fact. You're feeling the pain of that hurt. And then someone says, oh, well, Robina, he wants to be happy. So the first thing, of course, we say is when we hear those words, we go, how dare you say that? What do you mean he wants to be happy? He doesn't deserve to be happy. So this one, if we could just start looking at deserve, this is the one that is tremendously huge, that blocks us from understanding this equanimity. And this is the work we do back in the wisdom wing, unpacking and unraveling attachment and aversion. These are the obstacle. So right now, friend is this person loaded with all these assumptions and stuff. There's a person who deserves your love. Why? Because they do what you damn well want. I mean, it should be embarrassing to see how self-centered we are, but we've got to be courageous to look at it. It's sort of like looking at a cancer. You can't pretend it's really nice. The oncologist has to see how disgusting it is and see it for what it is, because it's causing pain. When you understand it, you can remove it. That's why we have to have courage to see our minds, not out of guilt, but be delighted to see how it is, then you can fix it. If you can't identify the problem, how can you solve it? And when you know it's not at the core of your being, you're happy to look at it. If you can't remove the cancer, just cover it up, please. It's okay. But you can fix it. You can't remove anger, then cover it up. Do your best. Live with it. No. So look at deserve. That's how we feel. The pain we feel when someone hurts you. And that's what anger. So that's what we have to do here. We have to personify these delusions. Let's personify anger, aversion. The hurt is real. Don't criticize yourself. The hurt is real because we have it. And we have these views, and that's why we suffer. So anger is, how dare you do that to me? I don't deserve it. The pain is, this is one of the worst pains the world experiences. This is where we literally go mad on the earth, because we have no memory of past lives. Of course, we have no memory of karma. We only have the view that I'm an innocent victim who didn't ask to get born, and this is attachment, who only deserves happiness. So attachment is this desperate, instinctive, primordial assumption that I only deserve happiness. It's not even spoken. At least anger, we say, I don't deserve. When you get a good thing, you just assume it, you deserve it. You don't even say I deserve it. You just assume it. Give me more, please. I deserve it. We never say, why do good things happen to me? Because there's an assumption I only deserve good, so give me more. But anger, the shock when attachment doesn't get what it wants. The shock, I don't deserve it. That's the thing to look at. And this is a view of karma. So when you have a garden, it's a really simple point. You know it's your garden. Your garden is the point. It's your garden. You mean when you look at that garden, you look at those veggies and flowers, you don't say, oh, I wonder who put flowers in my garden. Wow, aren't I lucky? You never say that. You never say that, because you did it. You remember it. And every time you look at one flower, you will never forget the hard work you did. And you will own it, and you'll be happy, and you'll rejoice, and you'll take responsibility, and you'll treasure the flower, and you'll pick it, and you'll quickly grow another one. Because you grew those flowers. They're your flowers. Well, that's how you think of your life. That's the way to think of karma. That's your life. Everything in this life, you planted it, and you own the weeds as well. You never say, who put weeds in my garden? Looking for some person to blame, the conspiracy theories, You never say that. This is such a perfect example. And this is the view of Buddha about karma. And universal, not universal. It's a logic for me. Just take the hypothesis your consciousness is not physical. It doesn't come from mummy or daddy or creator. You're not plonked on this planet by someone else, which is a horrible idea. You put yourself here, babe. Take responsibility. So your life is your garden. And then whatever's in it, when you start to own it, the fear is dissipated. Then you don't have this assumption that I only deserve good things, because you know that you only deserve what you planted. Buddha doesn't you say deserve, we say deserve. It's so heavy. So then, of course, you have this for yourself, and then someone out there, and then the person who's mean to you. What do you mean they want to be happy? We can't even hear it because they don't deserve it. That's not the point. That's not the issue here. That's not the discussion. It's not even a question of everyone deserving happiness. It's not even a question of deserve. Everybody wants it. And if we really look at this point, which is fundamental in all of Buddha's teachings, it's so primordial. There's happy feelings and unhappy feelings. Like I said, feeling in the third category of states of mind, the mechanics. There's only there's the happy feeling and unhappy feeling. Get the neutral. So we only want the happy, pleasant, joy, fulfillment, and we only don't want the unhappy. So all we're trying to do is this bare bones recognition that everyone's driven by that. Deserve is not the issue. Deserve is an irrelevant issue. Get it out of the way. This is ego's junk. Deserve isn't the issue. But once you know you all want flowers and don't want weeds, then you know you have to grow them. That's all. That's very simple. So then you don't say deserve. When you know that you have to put the flower in the ground, you don't sit there. You see, the one of deserve is you're watching the garden and you're waiting for someone to come along and put a flower in it. You're kind of sitting there waiting. That's how we live our lives. This impotent, hopeless, I didn't ask to get born. Someone better give me happiness, please. How dare someone give me suffering? I mean, we can see why we go mad. It's really quite a demented view. It's hopeless, complete victim mentality. It's all right. Thank you. It's complete victim mentality, like a child, paralyzed. But when you know have a garden, you leap into the garden, you own it, you want it, you can imagine the flower, you know how to grow it, you learn flowers, you learn botany, you got to get it accurate, and you put the seed in and you delight and you nourish it, and then you use the flower, you pick it, and you grow another one quickly because you want more flowers. It's logical. That's interdependence, people. That's interdependence. Buddha says life's like that. But look how we think of life. No wonder we suffer. I mean, it's like a nightmare. Blaming all the time. Expecting and blaming. That's what attachment and anger are. This fierce, junky, demanding, this hubris, this kind of entitlement. I deserve happiness. I didn't ask to get born. I mean, we should be happy to hear it. It's kind of embarrassing. We should look around embarrassed to admit to it. Join the universe, people. This is what Buddha means by ego. So we have to own responsibility. That's what dependent arising means. Nothing cosmic. Then deserve disappears. Then you look at being, they all want happiness, they all don't want suffering, but look at the mess they're making. Then you want to help them. But first is equanimity, to recognize. And why we want equanimity? Why? Because at the moment we only want to make our friends happy. We don't want to make our friends, our enemies unhappy, and we couldn't care about the rest. So it's too small. We're too limited. We're too narrow, We want to expand our view. So at least recognize that they're equal to each other from this perspective. That's all. They want to be happy and don't want to suffer. That's all. We haven't begun to get it yet. We have to start recognizing that first, that it drives everybody. So when you see Mr. Trump or the pedophile, you don't say they don't deserve happiness. It's not the issue. You start to realize they're driven by the wish to be happy. That's why they jump on little girls, because of the past karmic habit. Mr. Trump wants to be happy. That's why he thinks lying will do it for him. We all only do what we do because we think it'll bring us happiness. We all do that. That's what we all do. We're driven by that. When you realize that, you think, poor sentient beings, look at us. Why aren't we ridiculous? So the first recognition is just that, recognizing they all want that. Just that, no more, just that. And that's the foundation. You build on that. Of course, then you begin to recognize, all these different systems the different thinkings we go through, like the kindness of the mother, blah, blah, blah. But there's another one, like 3 or 4 points on. There's about 11 different points if you put the two systems together. There's one that says, that we're trying to use logic to argue. Okay, there's different steps. The very first one is foundation. This is the basis, the foundation, the root. And then you grow from there to want to then begin to find the way to develop what they call love. And love is, may they be happy. May they be happy. Like we said in the four thoughts this morning, just may they be happy. And then I will make this happen. So you have to have a system. You have to have a method. You have to know how to get yourself happy first, which is what you've done in the wisdom wing. You got the method. So first establish they want it. Then you establish, may I do it? And then you start to learn how to then practice love. And you're practicing, may they be happy. You're practicing, may they be happy. That's love. Love is, may you be happy. First you establish they want it, equanimity. Then may they. So whether this is a friend or an enemy. But before we even go to that, how do we even practice equanimity in daily life? Well, I always think of the one you're like a grandmother and you've got your little sort of saintly child, and then you have this little smelly kid next door that your saintly child plays with. Well, you can't stand the sight of this. Pick their nose, they're rude. And so you have aversion for them, isn't it? You have attachment to your beloved and aversion for this little smelly kid. So they might be a mean kid. They might pick their nose and they might even be mean. It might be true. See, saying someone wants to be happy doesn't turn them into a saint. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. This means that, they're smelly kid and they be mean. So you watch them, but you suddenly check and you go, well, Robina, he feels in his little heart, he's driven by the wish to be happy as well. That's why he's mean. That's why he picks his nose, And you suddenly recognize he wants to be happy. There's a twinkle of it comes. So suddenly you begin to see him as a human being. You notice it doesn't counteract his delusions. As soon as we say, oh, the poor, Mr. Trump, oh, he wants to be happy, then we go, oh, we think we're patting him on the head and saying, oh, the poor thing can't help it. It's okay. No. It's a bare bones thing. Everyone's driven by the craving to be happy and not suffer. Then what love is, may they be happy. And then the next one is, I'm going to make it happen. That's the bodhisattva one. You've got to know what you want it first. And then compassion is, may they not suffer. That comes after. And then great compassion. What can I do to make it happen? And all this is the process that culminates in that paradigm shift. And don't hold your breath. It's going to take a while. Compassion is when I hear the compassion teachings, I'd rather have emptiness any day of the week. Emptiness is easy in comparison. And I'm not joking. Emptiness is easy in comparison. I promise. It's safer. Compassion for me, I can't even. It's like over the top. Insane, When I had to write Rinpoche's not biography, I have to do that, in fact, before I die, and I better hurry. But I wrote his obituary. They asked me to write the obituary. It was so moving just to hear in simple terms, what a bodhisattva is like, who doesn't have any longer this neediness and assumptions and attachment and aversion. It's like insane. It's like you can't believe it's true, But it's encouraging to know it is possible. But it's a way to go to get there. And this is the system, gradually, step by step by step. That's why we have to be very authentic about where we are at. Which means enormous courage to own your rubbish, but not exaggerate it, and to own your goodness, but not exaggerate it. To be very bare bones about our minds, Because you're the person who has to do the work. You better be clear, like the clarity you get with music and math. Same clarity. But what stops, I think that, discussing attachment is the attachment that prevents us from seeing that. The attachment that is the worst one. The attachment that we're discussing all the time, that is the biggest obstacle, is the attachment to being seen as a good girl. We are so frantic to be seen in a good light. Putting it more simply, this is the deepest attachment. This is the one that's the closest to ego grasping. The last one to go. Is this because, see, the irony of ego is this is an assumption that I'm this separate, nothing kind of person. I'm like nothing, The whole world is out there and I'm nothing. So all the delusions are rooted in trying to get something and push things away. It's all very schizophrenic. So the irony of ego is I'm nothing. And so then naturally the main voice of ego is I'm hungry, I need. So since we're born, we come in program with this from the past. Since we're born, we're sitting there as a baby with this in our mind already, hungry for mummy to approve of me. Hungry. When she smiles, it fulfills. And it's blissful because she has to love us. But we have to distinguish between the hunger to be loved and the delight in it and the using of it in a good way, using it as nourishment, for our hearts. So this neediness to be seen in a good light, this is what drives most decisions of most sentient beings in the universe. And so it completely messes us up, So to have the courage to go beyond that one is pretty stupendous. To hear it and to have the courage. And that's why I say, know what you want. What do I want? Have the courage to say what I want. Even if it's to kill your father, you have to know you want that, whatever reason, and then you have to work with it, using ethics to work with it. But we suffocate what we want because we think I'm not supposed to want that, or I can't want that. And why do we think that? Because since the beginning of birth, we've been internalizing what mummy said, what daddy said, what God said, what mummy said, what grandma said, what grandpa said, what the world says. And we try to be a good girl by living according to those. And then we think we'll get praised, and we're terrified of getting punished, and then we get guilty. So what a mess we are, all because of this attachment. So you have to ask the question, When we're lonely, for example, one of the biggest sufferings on the planet is loneliness, and this is because of this attachment. There's an assumption, isn't there, with loneliness, that all my thoughts, all my things, my qualities, who I am, my house, whatever I've got, that somehow they're worthless unless someone else sees them. Think about this, that my thoughts are worthless until you hear them. So you have to ask your question, many questions. One question is, if my thoughts are so worthless, why would I want to share them with you? But we seem to think that if you hear my thoughts, somehow that validates them. That's what this attachment is, that I'm not real and not valid until you say I am. That's the suffering of ego grasping. That's the suffering of attachment. I'm nothing until you tell me I'm something. And we believe that story absolutely. So we're hungry to be liked, hungry to be loved. There's nothing wrong with love. Lamy says we're dying for love. Wonderful. Find love. Love is virtue. Love is goodness. Love is delicious. Love is nourishing. Attachment is a vampire. So this is when we say love ourselves and have compassion for ourselves. Doesn't just mean having a massage and a weep, which is nothing wrong. Do you understand? Do it. But loving yourself is starting to approve of yourself and stop wanting other people's approval and stop wanting the cake and the sex and the drugs and the rock and roll, thinking you get happy from it. It's not fundamentalist. It's practical. It's learning to nourish yourself from within. That's what giving up attachment means. So giving up attachment, giving up emotional hunger, and nourishing yourself and learning, that's what it means. That's what it means. That's the practice. That's how you get to become fulfilled in yourself. Just talking. So equanimity is this recognition that everyone out there is equal to each other in their wish in the wish for happiness and not want suffering. And then you start to then you start to cultivate this. I mean, there's more than that, but there's just these simple points. May they be happy. And that means the enemy as well. So that boy, that smelly kid, and you just stop there. You think, well, he's just like my grandchild, Robina. Even though they're different behavior, he's evil and my kid is nice, actually. It's okay. It could be valid. It could be moral and he could be immoral. It could be true. But he wants to be happy. And because of his past negativity, he's driven to do negative things to get happy. Then you can have compassion. But that's leaping forward too many points. Just the equanimity first. Start with that. Already he becomes a little bit more human to you. Then you can sort of look at this casually, the different next stages. Well, may he be happy? And then you become more skillful. What can I do to make him happy? This is as you develop up the stages of these various points in your practice. You then become more skillful and wise. So as His Holiness says, compassion is not enough. Love is not enough. You need wisdom, and that's why the wisdom has to come first. You can't help a person play music until you can play music. You can't help a person get healthy until you can get healthy. Well, you can't help a person get happy until you can get happy, because it's the same technique. So the wisdom has to come first. And then when you realize we're all in the same boat, we're all driven by our wishes to be happy, all driven by our wish not to suffer, and all driven by our crazy habits, which is why we harm others. And right back at the beginning stage, when we can start to realize, and this is something we always miss, if we think about, even if you don't think about karma, past lives, don't worry about that. If we can just see, and this is all Buddha's point is, that my anger, my jealousy, my depression, my anxiety, my fears, and therefore the things, they are the source, first, right there, of my pain. And then they are the source of why I do things with the servants of my mind, the body and speech, that harm others. So that is the process that harms me. We're so addicted to the idea of harming others, we don't notice that that's what harms me. And that's all Buddha's saying about karma. We harm ourselves by harming others. That's why, again, go back to how we talked before, I think. Jesus says don't kill. Why, Jesus? It's because God is the boss and he says you shouldn't. Fair enough. And then he forgives you if you do it. Fine, no problem. This view different. Buddha says don't kill. Why not, Buddha? He says because, Robina, that's a negative action. And you'll say, what makes it negative? And he'll say, because sentient beings don't like being harmed. It's a natural law. But then he'll give us an extra piece of information. He will exhort us. The very first level of practice is don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, don't harm, which sounds all about compassion. No, not yet. Not yet. By definition, killing is negative because it harms others. But, Buddha says, at this first stage of practice, He exhorts us not to do it, not because it harms others yet. That's compassion. But you know what, Robina, sweetheart, petal? Is because it will harm you. And this is the one in our culture that we miss, because we hear that as punishment, but it's programming. If you eat sugar or whatever you're supposed to, not do, your doctor doesn't say, I'll punish you with diabetes. She says, that will cause you diabetes. So then she says, don't eat sugar. Buddha's the same. He's an advisor because it'll harm me. We miss this point. And that means I am the beneficiary of this practice. You've got to know that you want to be happy and don't want to suffer, and this is the method. And you should be delighted to know what you want, and delighted to know you want to be happy, and delighted to know you don't want to suffer, and delighted to stop killing because you're sick of suffering. I'm up to here with suffering. We've got to have, that's what they mean by renunciation. That's self-love. We're too scared to own what we want. Well, I'm not supposed to want that. That sounds selfish. It's ridiculous. You ought to want it happily. You ought to want happiness. You're sick of suffering. You're up to here with it. So I'm going to give up the bullshit. And then you own it and live with it while it's there, because it won't go overnight. And don't judge yourself, but be delighted to see it and eat it up for breakfast every day. See the pain it causes you, and then delight in your virtue, delight in your goodness, delight in your progress. This is renunciation. Not some kind of sort of, oh, I'm renounced. I don't care about. Would you like some coffee, Robina? Oh, I don't care. Would you like tea? I don't care. Like indifference. It's disgusting. Renunciation is intense. It's to do with you, your happiness, so want what you want. Say, and then, of course, go to the Bodhisattva path and underpin it with bodhicitta, then it's fantastic. So go for it. Want the best partner on the planet. The richest, most delicious partner on the planet. If you want them, go for it. And then you go online and find them. It's the quickest way now. Isn't it? Everybody, I was just telling Joe before, I read the New York Times, one of my favorite sections of the New York Times. You can tell I'm old. I go on social media, but I don't know how to get in there to look. People do it for me, but I read newspapers still. So I always talk about this. My biggest expense in my whole life in the month is my newspapers and magazines. So my reading, I always tell people this. I read the New York Times, I subscribe, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, Guardian, the monthly, that's the weeklies, the dailies, and the weeklies are the Economist. I gave up the Atlantic, it was a bit boring, the New Yorker, and my monthlies are Vogue and Vanity Fair. All right? So I like reading about human beings. You read about human beings, grist for the mill, isn't it? Anyway, what I'm saying is, one of my favorite sections of the New York Times is this, and it's quite a big section now. It used to be called weddings, but now it's called love, and it's called all these different things, all these different kind of relationships. What am I saying? Oh, yeah, and most people now meet online. Most people. So don't have your nose in the air, okay? Use these tools. I mean, I used to have to walk around the streets and go to bars and pick up people. It was a big hassle. Now you just press a button on Tinder. It's a lot better. I would have appreciated. So use computers, use the algorithms to help you find your partner, please. It's another way of just karma ripening. It's a quick way. It's a quick method, that's all. So know what you want. Everything, you see, Lama Zopa says everything, as they're saying in Tibetan, everything exists on the tip of the wish. And that's the meaning of intention, the word intention. That's not motivation. Intention means I will, volition, bare bones, I want, I will. You have to know that. Then, of course, underpin it with bodhicitta, then everything's fantastic. But don't be ashamed. I want happiness. I don't want suffering. And then learn the methods. Then you can help others. It's so clear, isn't it? So there you go. It's 10 to 10. Come on, ask me some questions now. I didn't talk much about equanimity, but I touched on it. Please talk to me now. Come on.
I've got one for you, Venerable. Just up the back.
Where are you? Okay, where are you?
Here.
Oh, yes, go, sweetheart. Romy, go.
In
the Melbourne girl. We're both born in the same city. Go on, darling.
Vogue girl as well, from way back as well.
Oh, which one?
Vogue.
Oh, Vogue. Oh, okay. Okay, darling. Go, girl.
I definitely struggle with wanting to be perceived as a good girl, as you would put it, especially with this job.
Exactly.
And when I catch myself doing that and I realize how stupid it is,
that's okay.
I then swing almost in the opposite direction and have like a fuck it attitude
Okay,
and
I understand.
go with it.
No, you don't need to. That's silly. No, that's extreme.
But so
No,
what
that's-
my
no, that's not-
question is, like, how do I balance this out to be more skillful?
I know. You see, the key, I know. The key is, you see, the thing is, Mama's also always said key. I say the key. The key thing, when we understand this model, that there are all these millions of states of mind, all mixed together like a big soup. Romy, listen. And they're all mixed together like a big soup right now. And they're all thoughts. They're like the roommates. And the sentence always starts with I or me. So there's going to be one that's attachment thought. So we have to distinguish between attachment. For example, attachment thought will be I-based. It's a needy kind of, it's got a hungry feeling to it, and I'm missing something and poor me feeling to it. If it's attachment thought. But if it's a positive thought, I want to help Fred. So because you're an ordinary person and haven't realized emptiness yet, they're going to be both there together. You can't expect to have a perfect thought of love, and you won't only have a completely total attachment one. If you only have attachment, you're a psychopath. So you've got virtues. So be glad to see the virtues. So say the words, I want to help Fred. The words sound the same. But because the attachment to be seen as a good girl is strong, you catch it. It's kind of hungry and a bit needy, and you have to catch it very subtle, catch it. And then the words are going to be the same. I want to help Fred. So then you hear it and you catch it, and you just go, shut up, Robbie. Give it a break. It's all right. And just decide, I'm going to make it the best I can. And you train to make it the positive one. But it's tricky to catch because they're not as if they're separate things. They come together. They are separate, but they come as if they're the one. So when you say, I want a cake, mostly that is disattachment. There's no virtue in that whatsoever. But if you're on the bodhisattva path, you add the virtuous thought. You say, I'm going to eat the cake so I can be fat and healthy to help others. Right there, that thought subdues the attachment. So every time you activate the positive one, you don't have to go extreme against the attachment. You can't push it away. That's silly. But you dissipate it. It reinforces the positive thought. You sort of got a glass of water and it's half pollution, half water. You can't make it all go away immediately, but you add a bit of extra waterness to it. You nourish it a little bit. So it's very subtle. You catch it. And the more and this is 1,000 times a day, and as we start to get more better at practice and concentration, you do it ever more subtle, ever more subtle. It's just practice. It's just practice. But you can't make it go away. And don't have shock about it. Don't be, oh my God, look at that attachment, how evil. And go to the other extreme. No, it's just you got to live with it. The pollution is in the water. You got to live with it. But as you're going, you're fixing it. It's a process. So we have to live with it as well at the same time as wanting to get rid of it. It's a very different view. You welcome it. You see it. You welcome it. You're glad to see it. You're happy to see it. Every time you play tennis, you're seeing how you can't play the backhand. You're watching the fault, but just trying to see the good one as well. So every time you do the better, you lessen the fault. So it's a gradual process, And welcome it. Look at the shut up, Romy. Give it a break, girl. You're already a good girl. Back off, And then you reactivate the positive one. Do you understand? Slow process. It's organic and slow and one step at a time. Do you understand, darling? And everyone's got it. Don't be shocked. See, our biggest problem is we see the delusion and then we see our anger and then we get angry with the anger. This is like the worst mistake we make. Be happy to see it. Now at least you can see it. I mean, Pabonka Rinpoche says, you know how they talk about they talk about 9 stages of cultivating single-pointed concentration. And in the text, it talks about, so Pabonka says, the sign of success at the first of the 9 is you think your mind's getting more berserk. He doesn't say berserk, more crazy. It's not, but you're noticing it. This is what we have to see. Like if you've been eating lousy food all your life, you're sort of vaguely unhealthy, but you've got no idea really. Then you start learning nutrition. You can't believe how disgustingly unhealthy you are. You've always been unhealthy, but now you're noticing it. So that's to be delighted about. We have to cultivate these thoughts. It's cultivating the courage to be happy to see the delusion, identify it, tell it to shut up, or argue with it, depending on how strong it is and at what time it's happening, and then reinforce the positive one. It's just a tricky thing, and just keep moving. Do you understand?
Yeah, I think I find when this attitude arises, it's more, I feel like I should be doing something and that's the right thing to do, but there might be people that think that that's a bad thing and that could upset them. And so I have this like confidence, but I sometimes get confused whether the confidence is arrogant
I understand
because
that.
I like don't care as much about the outcome, and I just kind of am like, this is what I should be doing, get it done.
That's fine. It's also fine. Or to me, it's almost like another way to put it is that the negative ones and the positive have got their flip side. So you could say confidence is a good quality, but arrogance is the polluted part of it. Arrogance is, and all the delusions are rigid, concrete, fear-based, and exaggerations. So arrogance exaggerates your importance. Confidence is content with who you are and is spacious. So there's always going to be coming together. So it's the same with the attachment and the courage to say the right thing, the same thing. So then you have to practice. Practice just takes practice. It just takes practice. But the key is to identify, to recognize first intellectually, theoretically, that all these neuroses have this specific function of being fear-based, I-based, a sense of separate I, panic-stricken, not comfortable. We all recognize that. And the other ones, the virtuous ones, are positive and they feel, we have to practice, and this is where the feeling part, they feel better. If you're loving and kind to somebody, there's a very big difference. Still attachment's there, but it's predominating. But to know theoretically, delusions they all have the function of exaggerating something. So attachment exaggerates the deliciousness of something. Aversion or anger exaggerates the ugliness of something. Arrogance exaggerates my importance. Low self-esteem exaggerates my unimportance. And if you've got, and this is an interesting point, if we've got arrogance, no, we never admit to arrogance. Nobody ever thinks they're arrogant. We all think we have low self-esteem. And I'm sorry to tell you, you've only got low self-esteem is because you've got arrogance. In other words, how dare someone be better than me? We take them personally. How dare you be better than me? I'm nothing. You would never think you were nothing if you had humility. So humility and confidence go together. Arrogance and low self-esteem go together. It's very tricky, I tell you. We never think we're arrogant, but arrogance is pride is one of our, it's sort of puffed up, slightly puffed up, but it's not comfortable. No one's ever comfortable. Look at proud people. They're so kind of fragile. You just prick them and they'll collapse and oh my God, I'm a hopeless person. And they want to kill themselves then. So if you hate yourself, it's because you've got arrogance. I'm sorry. If you don't have arrogance, you'd be comfortable with yourself and you'd be confident and you'd be humble and you'd delight in other people's qualities. When we're arrogant, we can't stand other people being better and we take it personally. How dare they be better than me? Then you flip down, We all have these. We understand. It's very tricky. They all work so fast, these roommates. And they all look like twins. So it's hard to see the difference. Do you understand? What else, people? What else?
Robina, there's a question from the chat. I'll just read it out.
Hello. Who is that? Roxy. Hello.
No, there's a different one. Sorry. There's one written in the chat and then we'll come to Roxy,
good, Roxy,
if that's all right.
So chat one first. Go on.
I am a householder. I took formal refuge back in 2006, now returning to the teachings.
Good.
What is your advice on the interpretation of signs? If I think I see a sign, yeah.
Go on.
If I think I see a sign in the world from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, should I tell someone else first or just interpret it on my own? Because it seems like we can't take everything to be a sign. Thank you so much.
Well, I would love to be able to talk to you about this. If you want to talk to me, I'd like to have a conversation to really understand your point. Do you mind talking to me?
Rowan, are you comfortable unmuting yourself?
If you'd like to.
I'm here. I had to get in a quieter space, but yeah, I can talk about it.
Good, Rowan. Talk to me, sweetheart.
I just wanted to think of something I could ask, but we've met before and everything, but I changed my name. Okay, so we'll talk later. But long story short, back when I was practicing more frequently, which was back in the 2000s, I used to think I saw signs. And see, I'm a Mahayana Buddhist, not Vajrayana. Okay, I've only taken I've taken formal refuge, and I've also, all of the empowerments I got were like Chenrezig, Tara.
Well, sweetheart, that's Vajrayana, Rowan. That's Vajrayana, darling.
Oh, okay. Well, then
you're totally Vajrayana. Don't you worry about it. You're in the deep end, baby. So talk to me, Rowan. Go on.
Unmute myself. Okay, I'm unmuting myself again. Okay, what I mean by sign is someone once told me, and this was just informally, they were like, you can look at everything as coming from the Buddha. And I did try to do that for a while, just informally, not in a teaching framework, but just kind of like, maybe that bird is a sign from the Buddha. You get what I mean?
No, I
And
see.
then I
Okay,
was
I
like,
see it
wait a
now,
minute, not
Rowan.
everything.
Rowan, now I
Sorry,
get
go
your
ahead.
point. So listen, baby.
Okay,
Listen,
I'm muted.
okay.
Thank you, Robina. You are such a genius. Okay, and I'm just shutting up now. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, good. I'm happy. So now I'll see if I can be useful to you. Listen, Rowan. There's so many levels of things that we can apply. So really what you're saying, in a sense, is it's a marvelous pure view. It's from the Vajrayana, actually. It's a really marvelous view that everything is in the nature of bliss and emptiness, that a bird could be the Buddha manifesting. I mean, if we understand the Bodhisattva teachings, Rowan, they say, there's a saying in Tibetan, you don't know who anybody is, so don't judge. So the Mahayana path is outrageous. All these bodhisattvas bopping along, wanting to become a Buddha. So they go along life after life after life after life, appearing as ordinary people, as rubbish people, as silly people, as good people, as rich people, as poor people. And they're moving on their path. And what they're doing is they're hooking sentient beings, and they manifest in different forms as they get more progress on their path to be of benefit. So they could be a bird, and it could be the dog, and it could be this. So there's nothing wrong with thinking this. So don't be superstitious about it, and don't say it to everybody, oh, there's the Buddha. I just saw the Buddha. Just keep quiet. But it's good for your mind to think like this, Rowan. Instead of, oh, there's an ugly person, there's an evil person. No, just say, oh, there's the Buddha manifesting as a wrathful aspect to show me my rubbish mind. It's a very good practice, Rowan. It's not so much signs. It could be also that. That's also a way to think. You see, like we all know that. You see a crow and it means this. Tibetans have got that coming out their ears for sure. But so it's a question of making it useful to you. Do you understand what I'm saying, Rowan?
I do. See, I grew up in a rural area. Now I'm in the city. That helps a lot but this is something that I've gotten away from, just so that, I'm not running around thinking everything is a sign anymore. But that helps me to figure out how to practice and
it's a good way to make the world useful to you as a grist for your mill,
I live in downtown San Francisco, and it's all grist for the mill around here.
Okay,
sure.
honey.
Good. Thank you so much, and you're just
all right,
incredible.
Rowan. Keep moving, honey.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, darling. What else?
Roxy, do you want to unmute yourself
Roxy,
and ask your question?
Hi, Roxy.
Sure, thank you. Venerable Robina, thank you so much for teaching us again.
Good.
Okay, so I have a question about the speediness with which, online activities and AI and so forth sort of bypass the slowness of the cultivation of your mind.
Yeah, I understand.
And how our minds can keep up with it. Because, I mean, this is, of course, a distinction between the brain and the mind, but we're really not evolved to keep up with AI. But I want to ground this in a question about emotions and about relationships. Let's say that, like you were talking about, say you're feeling hurt by somebody who has supposedly betrayed you.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can see how it makes sense to see that this in light of their desire to be happy, and it's your karma, and how to avoid. I'm interested in how to avoid a kind of accidental masochism of going too far. It's my fault. It's my karma, etc.
Exactly.
And cultivating this attitude takes time, but seems countered by all the world of speediness that we're living in right now, where people can just get what they want, grasp, get it, and then you have to kind of process it just as quickly. It's hard.
No, I know. So this is where we have to try and, go it out, try and not be dragged by the pace of the outside things. So I had to find our own pace and then know what conditions that are useful for us that won't overwhelm us. So if we can't cope with the freeway, we don't drive cars. If we can't cope with being up with 100 people, don't go to the party. If we can't cope with all the speedy stuff, try to, as much as we can, make the choice, to conditions are so important. We have to know the physical external condition that's most conducive for us to do the job we need to do. Some people thrive in busy and sound, and they can channel it at that level. Other people, so we have to be in charge of that, not be pulled from pillar to post. That's the first point. But the victim one, this is a big one. This is where again, if I use the analogy of the garden, and if you really know you're in charge of that garden and you know your botany and you feel responsible for it and you feel encouraged by the garden and you're confident about the garden, when you have that view and you see the crummy weed that you forgot to pull out and it's strength and it's poisoning all your flowers, you won't have guilt. You'll go, oh, what an idiot. I can't believe myself. And you will happily fix it. Whereas now, because someone's just harmed us and it's due to the seeds I did plant, we turn it against ourselves with self-pity and abuse, you know. So we've got to have a confidence in this view of cause and effect, and a confidence that everything in my life, I caused it, but a confidence, not a fear. Like if you're afraid of your garden and you're afraid of growing the wrong things, you'll never do anything because you're scared of what people think. So you've got to have some courage and know, and the more you learn botany, the more you can own your garden, and then the more responsibility you can take for the rubbish you do, and know it's all part of the process, because learning means making mistakes. But we're so terrified of making mistakes, we don't want to be criticized. We have to be prepared to make mistakes. It's all part of learning. That's what learning is. You make a mistake and then owning it, not turning it against ourselves. This is the biggest one we have to practice doing. Then we become courageous. And then rejoicing in your good qualities at the same time. Do you understand, darling?
That was really brilliant and beautiful.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, darling.
Thank you.
Good, Roxy. Thank you. Yes, at the back there. Hang on a second, sweetheart. Yes.
Okay. I think you said cultivate the negative. Did you say that?
I mean, I probably didn't. What I mean was be happy to see it. Well, okay, be happy to see it and own it and look at it and understand. If you're afraid of a weed and push it away, you'll never know what it is. You have to greet it. It's sort of like if you're, again, the oncologist one. If the oncologist is shocked by the cancer, oh, I don't want to look at cancer. Oh, it's so disgusting. Oh my God, they got to love to look at the cancer. They don't want to tell you that while you're sitting there dying of misery, and they're so excited by your cancer because they want to understand it and analyze it and investigate it. That's how we have to greet our garbage. And as soon as you walk in, you see, attachment only wants everything to be lovely. If you see a shitty part of yourself, you have aversion to it, so you have a panic attack.
Mhm.
But the way to do that is you pull your sleeves up and you welcome it. You look at it. You go into it with a microscope. And then that very process of identifying it dissipates it. And the fear's gone. And you see there's anger for what's ridiculous nonsense. Look at this rubbish. Not fear and panic and resistance and denial and all the other rubbish, you know. So greet it. Welcome it. You got to greet the flowers. You got to greet the weeds. You got to understand the weeds. So it's a courageous attitude. Not just craving the flowers and hoping the weeds go away. Do you understand, darling?
I do.
We've got to be courageous. Good.
Thank you.
All right. So that's what welcoming problems means. You understand? Welcoming it. Yeah. Yes, darling.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Good.
I'm going to try to keep the question succinct.
Good,
It's
darling. Wonderful.
regards my daughter
Yes.
and guiding her. So you spoke yesterday about that the equanimity, but not being a doormat,
Yeah.
and in guiding my daughter towards friends, she's also, as Geshe said yesterday, we have this precious little time, and she's 12. So I'm starting to approach that. I've given you the seeds. You're starting to make your own decisions. But there are some friendships with friends that they're not the snotty kid next door. They're the kid in the heels and the makeup and starting to really like be active.
Yes, exactly.
And also the treat, like they
So-
grew up together actually at Tara and became girlfriends very young,
Yeah.
but it was a
Yeah.
very uncomfortable thing for me to watch from the outside, because it was like, I'll give you this thing if you are my girlfriend. And if you're not going to stay my girlfriend, I'm going to give it to the next person. And watching her little heart be torn, I want to be there for the other
I understand.
child. I
Okay.
care for them both,
Okay.
but
So
I'm nervous.
So
about
this
the
really is
connection.
okay. So the question here, keep the mic. So this question is not about your daughter. This is about you. Because you're the one who has to do it. So we have to look at your mind, not her mind. So if you're talking about nutrition and you don't understand nutrition very well, then you don't know how to interpret the problem let's say your daughter's got a physical problem. If you don't know nutrition, you can't identify it, can you? So you'd be worried about it. But if you know nutrition, you wouldn't be worried because you identify the problem properly and know how to solve it. So we have to see what your problem is. And your problem is attachment to your daughter, attachment to her being happy, neurotic attachment that can't bear the thought of her suffering, the fear and panic of what will happen if she gets seduced by this girl who's going to get her off in high heels and something before she's in a bed and she's got a baby. God knows what the dramas are. So your fear of all the things that might happen. This is about you, not your daughter. So keep looking at your own mind. Keep practicing seeing clear-eyed, being clear. Don't exaggerate the problem. Don't de-exaggerate it. But it's your mind that's the point. We're looking at you and I can't imagine being a mother. I can't imagine how to sort out the mess of a mother's attachment and distinguish it from love. So you've got to be clear. She's 12. Okay, she's only 12. That's young. But these days people go off and get married at 12, don't they? Or no, not quite, do they? But sort of, you see my point. So darling, you got to be clear. You got to see the danger where it is and don't exaggerate it. Does your daughter love you and support? Does she listen to you? Do you talk about this? Does she talk about the girlfriend?
Mhm.
And do you let her just say what she wants, or you just advise her?
Yeah, we have a
Go
pretty
close to the mic.
strong relationship. She talks to me pretty openly about what she's feeling. She's not much interested yet in really
High
any
heels
of
and
it.
lipstick.
But and I guess part of that question as well is they actually went to different schools and there was a big separation, and I saw a lot of ease change in my daughter.
About a what?
A lot more ease. She started to gain more friends, where in the other school it was just the two.
Okay, so then go
And
on. So
she
then,
started to develop and kind
Mhm.
of grow and
Uh-huh.
join lots of clubs and get really active. And I saw her grow
so
into
now
herself.
where's she at now?
So now the other friend I've heard is really struggling, has left
She's what?
school, is really struggling, has left the school.
Uh-huh.
And I know that friend is struggling. I
So
know
what's the
the
problem?
history.
So what do you think the problem is? Well, how do you see the problem from your
My
daughter?
problem is questions about, do I invite that back in for my daughter, because I know the other child.
Confused one.
So their friendship kind of separated out. They don't
So
spend
are they?
time
I'm confused. Are they
anymore.
friends now?
They are friends and they text occasionally, but they don't see
Well, where's
each
the
other.
problem then? There's no problem.
I guess where my internal struggle is knowing that other child is struggling. Do I invite her
oh my
back
God, I see what you're
in?
saying. She's not your responsibility. She's not your daughter. It's not your job to bring this girl into your daughter's life. That's not your damn business. Now I'm hearing you. I beg your pardon. This is all about you. Why? It's not but the whole world is suffering, darling. And the only way we can help body is a person is according to the connection we have. So if this girl has got a strong connection with you personally, then fine. But this is your daughter's friend.
That we were friends all together as parents, and the kids
but we're not
coming
discussing
up.
that here. We're discussing your daughter is friends with a little bit with this girl, and you're thinking I should invite this girl more often because she's struggling.
Yeah.
She's not your job, baby. Your daughter is your job. You can still love this girl for who she is, but she's not in your. It's sort of like she's not your responsibility. I don't mean you don't care about her. But you can't start intervening with a friend of your 12-year-old daughter and inviting her to your home. Excuse me, that's out of line. Do you hear my point or not?
Yeah.
She's not your responsibility.
So I guess that is part of where my pain comes in, is
What do you
because I feel like I'm not reaching out to her, knowing she's struggling.
Reach out to her. We've got to have a sense of appropriateness. If you want to, you can walk down to the local homeless person and bring them home if you're that big-minded. But everybody isn't. I mean, it doesn't mean when you say not. You see, equanimity and wanting everyone to be happy is one thing, and we have to aim for that. But how you help them is based on dependent arising and karma and appropriateness. You can't just barge into someone else's life because they're suffering and invite them home for lunch. And especially as your daughter's friend, that would be so invasive. It's not your business, is what I'm hearing. Are we communicating here? I mean, so this is where, listen to me now. Listen to me. Listen. On this bodhisattva path, it sounds so crazy. I want every sentient being to be happy. May all sentient beings be happy, blah, blah. It's a view and a goal, and eventually you will be like that. But then still, Lama Zopa, who might be like that, he doesn't just bring every Joe home. It's all according to the karma you have with people. He might walk past a person whom he has such compassion for because he recognizes 22 lives ago, but there's no karma for that person to even see Lama Zopa. So he doesn't drag him by the neck. I'm going to help you. Come home. You've got to help them according to the connection. Are you hearing my point?
Yes.
So if your daughter's friend rings you up and says, can you please help me? I'd love your support. Then fine. But it's your daughter's friend. Oh my goodness. So you've got to have bodhicitta, grow all these, may I be able to help, but the helping is in relation to wisdom, appropriateness, space and time.
Thank you.
Do you understand me?
I do. And I think
So
you're
then
right.
give up, because you can't help this girl, you can't help 99.9% of the damn world. You don't just give up on them. What the bodhisattva does is this. They look at the war in Ukraine. They look at that girl and they go, can I help now? There's no karma to help. So they say, but I'm going to continue to work on myself and never give up wanting to help.
Yeah. And I've
And
been
that gives you
trying to
courage to keep
nudge.
practicing.
Yeah. And I've been trying to nudge my daughter. Don't you think we should reach out? And her wisdom is greater than mine.
Business. Get out of her life, please.
She said
Back
no.
off. You're completely confusing your poor daughter. God almighty. Wow, I'm glad we got that clear. Are we communicating? It's appropriateness. Do you understand? I mean, for example, this is a different discussion. It's a similar discussion, but it's just a different thing. When I first met the Lamas, I connected with Lama Yeshe straight away. So in other words, I was ready to be helped by him because I gave him permission. I was ready. So he picked me up and he helped me. Lama Zopa took me 10 years to recognize he was my teacher. Hear my point. I had a dream even in a retreat, a vivid dream at my retreat 10 years before I connected with him. I met him and I had this dream in the Landa Monastery ruins in India with all the students, and he called me over and he put his text over one shoulder, his robe over my other shoulder, and he said, follow me out. I thought it was a nice dream. By that point, I knew Lama Yeshe was my Lama. And I told a Lama that dream. He said, oh, that's the Lama who leads you to enlightenment. And I was very surprised. So I knew he was my guru. It took me 10 years for my heart to be ready. So he left me alone for 10 years. He knew he was my teacher. He didn't barge in and grab me by the scruff of my neck. I'm going to help you. I wasn't ready. Appropriateness, time and space. Otherwise, it's sentimental and it's attachment. Do you understand, darling? Okay, good. What else? 20 past. Where?
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question about equanimity. I think that
The recognition that enemy, friend, and stranger are equal in wishing to be happy and not suffer. That's it. That's equanimity. So what's your question?
the question is that when I mostly my motivation to practice seems to be that clinging and aversion really don't feel that good. And it feels so much better not to do that.
That's right. Exactly.
And so sometimes I'm worried that that sort of is aversion and clinging, and I'm not really
what is
practicing
aversion and clinging? What is?
this pushing away from the bad feeling of clinging, this clinging to the good feeling of letting go.
Okay,
And
so what's the
then
question?
the question is,
tricky. Just keep it
I don't feel like I'm developing equanimity in that, even when I'm
Equanimity
practicing.
is not, let's not discussing equanimity here. We're discussing equanimity is you looking at two different people, one you don't like and one you like.
It's not. What could it be?
Equanimity
Looking
is
at
a very-
feelings, one I
No,
like, one I
darling,
don't like.
equanimity is a very, listen to me. Look at
Mhm.
me and listen to me. I'm here. Look
Yeah.
at me. You're looking over there. Look at me.
Mhm.
Okay. The equanimity I described before is a very specific, narrow, precise thought in relation to friend, enemy, and stranger. So that's full stop. Turn the page. Now ask me your question. It's got nothing to do with equanimity. Ask me your question.
Well, I don't know if it's
Just
called
say, you said it
equanimity
before, so
then.
ask the question. That's good. Say it again.
Yeah. The question is, if my motivation to practice is this
Is what?
is feeling good when I let go and feeling bad when
Okay,
I'm
so listen,
yeah.
like I said before, first level of practice, wisdom wing, junior school, entry level, grade 1, you have to want to be happy.
Mhm.
That's the motivation. Forget bodhicitta, okay? You have to first recognize, you know what, baby, honey, child, what's your name?
Trinley.
Trinley, you say to yourself, Trinley, I want to be happy. I'm sick of suffering.
Mhm.
You have to have that thought. So where's the problem?
Uh,
Delight in that thought and then try to attempt to do it. According to your capacity, you then practice. It should be marvelous to want to be happy and not want to suffering. And every time you see the yucky yuck, notice it and be so glad to want to give it up. This is good. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that?
Okay.
Go for it. We're also scared of wanting to be happy. We think we sound selfish. We don't understand renunciation if we do that. We miss that completely in our culture. We get all mucky and yucked and caught up in guilt and shame and blame and rubbish. Want to be happy, honey, without a single doubt. And then know what causes your suffering and quit it one step at a time.
Okay.
Are we communicating?
We're communicating.
Then you can add love and compassion to it.
Thank you.
Please. And be delighted in your practice. Trini, look at me. Be delighted in your practice. All right? Rejoice in your efforts. Good. Time to go soon. Ready for... Okay, whatever. Yes, go, go, go. And I've got David is there too, wants to talk to me. David has a question. In a second, David. Go. Yes, you do. You first.
Okay.
Go.
Hi, Robina.
Hello.
You and I had an exchange online one time.
Oh, we did? Okay.
And it was wonderful.
Oh, good. I always wait for the one
It was-
I'm about to say, and it was terrible.
No,
You
no.
abused me.
It was wonderfully curt and to the point.
That sounds...
And I love that about you.
Okay, cool.
And especially since it cut away a misunderstanding that I had actually come into Buddhism with.
Okay, how interesting.
So it was pertaining to Guru Yoga.
Yes.
And I had taken on the practice at the advice of our guru, Lama Zopa.
Yes.
And I got halfway through the number of repetitions that he had given me.
Yeah.
And I decided I was in the process of actually memorizing this particular practice so that I could do that. And so I kept going back to the beginning, and somehow I kept missing this one little note that said, you must have an initiation before you practice this.
Oh, really?
Okay. And so here I was benefiting from the practice, actually.
Sure, of course you were.
It was beautiful. I was having this wonderful experience with this Guru Yoga practice.
Yeah, right.
And all of a sudden I was doing it wrong. And I was like, oh my, what?
Yeah, that's right.
And so I posted the question, and your response to me was, if Lama Zopa gave you the practice, then you've been initiated, do it.
Oh, did I say that? Well, that could be with a pure view, you could think that. Yes.
Yes. So, and then you followed up with that with another statement. And I would like, for the benefit of everyone here, to be able to have this, a clear understanding of it. Your next statement in the writing was, if you're having a problem with the practice, if you're having a problem with your devotion, you need to take that up with your guru.
Yeah, are you sure? This doesn't sound like me.
It was. It was. And
Okay.
and what I believe the point of it was, and this is where I would hope
Yeah,
to
go.
be getting clarity,
Yeah.
was at that point, you were not speaking about Lama Zopa as guru at that point, although one guru is all the gurus, and all the gurus are embodied in one, correct?
Yeah.
So I believe that what you were getting at was the idea of having the inner guru, the inner guide, the inner understanding of guru, and that becoming the basis for your forward motion as a practitioner in Buddhism.
I'm a bit confused. So
You're confused?
ask me the question in another way.
I'm good at that.
Just ask me the question
Okay,
in
let's
another
try that
way.
again.
Ask me a question.
Could you speak to us about guru?
Oh my gosh.
Just in brief.
Are you sure that's the question?
I believe that for most of us in America,
No, but for,
that we have problems with guru.
Do
And
we?
I would like to
well, I think
understand.
4
the
minutes to
basis.
go before we have a break is a bit late. But I could say 4 minutes worth.
I mean, I realize.
I'm going to try to get the essence of it. Okay. If we take the view, which is Buddha's telling us, that we have all these neuroses in our mind, join the universe. Okay. It's just how we are. And he has investigated them, and he has discovered that they're misconceptions. But the crucial point is he's discovered they cause our pain, and that we can get rid of them, which is very encouraging. So if that's so, then inevitably we're going to see the world through the lenses of these delusions. And that's the problem. So even if it's just, you know, one practice in daily life, a really good practice if we can, like your sister, maybe you're thinking your sister was mean to you. A really good practice is to think, well, you know, she might have been mean to me, but what can I do about this? I can't change her words, but I can change my view. So I can just see that because of my neediness for my sister just being nice to me, I got hurt. So if I change that, then I'll see my sister differently. Well, that's the essence of the practice. So if we were able to do that, everything in the world will be grist for our mill. We'd be able to see everything in a good light, and it's completely possible. No matter how bad the suffering is, we could interpret it properly, and we could get benefit from it. So in a way, that's how we have to learn to be with everybody, not just a person we decide is my teacher. Put it another way, when I learned to make a cake from my mother, I always use that the example of the way you get a teacher. I'd never learned to make a cake. I had no interest in making a cake. One day, finally, at the age of 25, I wanted to make a cake. I happened to be going to Australia, so I said, Mum, show me how to make a cake. She was probably happy waiting 25 years to be asked. But the point is this is the teacher too. I needed first to check that my mother was valid. Because I didn't know if she said to me, put 14 eggs in, I wouldn't have any basis for knowing if it was right or wrong because I have no experience. So I needed intellectual certainty. But I had it. I'd tasted her cakes. I'd tasted her daughter's cakes. Her peers said she was a good cake maker. I'd done my due diligence. So then I said, Mum, show me how to make a cake. So then she'd been proceeded to show me how to make a cake. So I remember the day, I remember the cake. It was an apple and walnut cake, and it was the first time cakes became real for me. We all need that. As Lama Yeshe says, Buddha's dead. So you need a person in front of you who embodies the Four Noble Truths, and then the Four Noble Truths become real for you. So we all need a teacher. So if I then said to my mum, what do you mean 2 eggs? How do you know what you're talking about? Then I'd never learn to make a cake. So the onus is on me first to do my due diligence, to be confident that she's valid. Then I say, show me how to make a cake, Mum. And because I'm confident, I will do what she says. That's why you need a teacher. So then because we've got delusions, and Lama Zopa one time, I wanted a meeting with him in France, and Annette went up to Lama Zopa in the room and said, Robina's outside, she wants a meeting. And he ignored her. 4 times she asked, he ignored her 4 times. She came out and shrugged her shoulders. So if I'd been offended, if I hadn't checked on Lama Zopa, if I weren't confident he was a valid cook, then I would have been offended. Who does he think he is? Not because, you know, how dare he not see me when I want to see him? I got a teaching from it. I immediately got a teaching. Thanks for showing me my mind, Lama Zopa. So the first one is you choose your guru. Lama Zopa left me in peace for 10 years because I wasn't ready. I had to choose. I had to decide I was ready. My mother left me for 25 years. I had to decide I wanted to make a cake, and then I had to decide that she was valid. Then I decided to ask her. So I was already set up for success. And then I trusted her to show me how to make a cake in her method. Is that helpful? Is that helpful? Okay, good. Now that's only 3 minutes. I have 1 minute to go. Is that helpful, people? So it's all about view, perception, as Lama said. Yeah.
Sorry, hang on, Julie. There is actually one last question on the chat from Aaron and David, and we're running tight on time.
We're fine. David,
okay.
Talk to me, sweetheart.
Hi, Venerable Robina.
Hello,
Nice to see you.
Yes.
Maybe in 1 minute, you can talk about the difference between happiness and attachment. When Trinley was talking about the wish to be happy, I thought, you know, every so often I have this random ability to recognize through my teachings and my practice when my attachment is thwarted, why I'm impatient, why I get angry, and I can analyze it, and it sort of reduces that attachment. Yeah. But this wish to be happy and wish to whatever I feel brings me happiness.
Yeah. That's too many thoughts all at once, David. The thought I want to be happy is the first step. You got to say I want to play tennis. Don't mix it with playing tennis yet. It starts you in the right direction. You got to start with a thought I want to be happy, and then you start finding the methods. So don't make it more than it is. You got to start with the intention. Everything exists on the tip of the wish. The start has to be I want to be happy. I don't want to suffer. And then you find the methods. I want a flower. So then you learn botany. You don't just leap in and put any old thing in the ground. You got to start with, start with the bare bones thought. I want to be happy. I don't want to suffer. That's the beginning of the process of practice. That's why you then start to live in vows and do your practice, because they're the methods. So I want to go have an ice cream is the first thought. You will never get it. An ice cream won't fly in the sky to you. You got to want the ice cream, and then you find the method to get it. I want to go kill my mother. Then you make the method to do it. I want is the first step. I want. Know what you want. I want happiness. I don't want suffering. That's the first step of practice. You apply the techniques, and then you can have qualified to now say, I want others to be happy. I want others to stop suffering. One step at a time.
So once we get that step, I have the wish to be happy. I'm pretty
Well, then
confident.
start and find the bloody methods. That's up to you. Learn the methods and then go one step at a time and be humble. And as you go along, as you're practicing. Do you see what I'm saying, David?
Sure. Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
sure?
Well, I'm trying to be sure.
I know. No, you are sure. Be sure. It's one step, but it's a process, which means it's like you decide I want to lose 25 pounds of weight. You've got to have the thought first. Then you go on the diet. You're not going to lose 25 pounds the next day. You don't go kill yourself because you look in the mirror, you're the same looking. You know that you've got the goal and you go towards it. And you're happy on the way. You're happy, and you learn to live with the fat as you go, as you get less, and you rejoice in the less fat, and you delight and you're growing. It's a process. Everything's a process. Everything's a process. Everything's a process. Everything's a process.
So developing those methods is one of those methods is recognizing when the attachment arises and is thwarted.
Well, that's quite sophisticated, yeah, but it's all part of it. But first you control the body and speech, Dave. Don't worry about your mind. Just zip the lip and keep your hands to yourself. That's the first step. And live in your vows and purify. That's your body and speech. It's all about behavior. Mind comes next. One step at a time, David. Are we communicating?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Go. Okay. Thank you. Go. Yes, sweetheart.
Lama Zopa Rinpoche.
Yes.
Can we talk about what I really miss him not
Do you,
being
darling?
here? Yeah.
Okay.
And I understand the
okay.
teachings.
Yes.
How are you coping with that? Because I know
I don't
you
have a
must miss
problem.
him
I'm maybe
too.
a cold-hearted, but I think he's there all the time anyway, because, he's in my heart and I talk to him every day and I'm writing his biography and I'm doing his teachings and
Same.
hearing his voice and editing him. And so he's present in my life. I'd be surprised if I didn't see his body. So he's tricked me into thinking he's still alive.
Well, I have the same. Same.
So
I
don't
mean, he
miss him
comes in
then.
dreams and
Well,
all
then
of
don't
that.
miss him then. God Almighty, why missing him? It's just seeing a bit of body, Don't worry about it.
Is that just attachment?
Yeah,
But
of course it is, darlings. And just be happy with what you've got there. And your practice.
I'm happy to have all of
There
all
you
of
go,
us.
darling. So keep moving. Good on you. That's it. Done.
Can we
So
do
then, thank you. That's me done for
mandala,
the weekend.
Rabina?
What?
Mandala offering?
Oh,
Quickly?
no, at the end of the day, darling.
All right, we'll do it at the end
Yeah,
of the
we're
next
going to have
session.
SOG this afternoon as well, 4 o'clock, if people want to come to SOG.
So just a quick update. We'll do offerings to Rabina at the end of OCEL's session, so at 12:30.
We'll do together quickly.
And we'll do it all together then.
Exactly.
And then we have shifted when we're doing Lama Chopa today to 4
It's going
o'clock.
to be a really quick Lama Chopa.
So if people want to stay around, they
20-minute puja, okay? Not 4.5 hours slow, boring Tibetan chanting. All right?
And then one
I
other
do it in 3 minutes in the morning. I got it down,